Ladies and people who are also doing a 365-day project and wondering why the hell they signed up for yet another one, they must be absolutely crazy. Andy here, author of The Best Tinder Guide on the Internet and the best hat wearer on the Internet. This is the Kill You're in a Loser show. Let's fucking absolutely go. Alright, so on this beautiful video here, man, look, actually, you know what a great point that I paused this video at. Hey, okay, so I'm probably thinking, there we go, that makes more sense. I'm probably looking at myself right now going, why the fuck is this guy wearing a hat like this? What is this guy, fucking retarded? Anyway, let's get back on point, ladies and gentlemen. So I did this video here, how to tame bratty girls, recent video, and I got a comment here. This little gentleman here, Hack Media, and Hack Media replies and comments on a lot of my videos. So hi Hack Media, I see you. I see you commenting everywhere, motherfucker. So let's make him nice and big. Oh yeah, look at this. Look at this freaking, how do I get rid of the rest of the crap? Let's have a look at this. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, look at these production values. Look at this. You are watching a man live, losing his mind slowly. Let's get this absolutely perfect. There we go. So Hack Media has left this comment, which I love, saying he doesn't know what to do if he's dating a girl or sleeping with a girl that isn't as sexual as he is or as horny as he is. So he says he's looking for another woman to fill that gap of needs right now, and it feels frustrating at times. So there is so much that I can say here, right? There's so many things that I can say. And the first thing I'm going to say is, let me take this hat off because it's goofy. It's a very serious podcast today, you can tell. So I love that if you're not currently getting something that you want, this guy has decided, you know what, I'm going to go and see if there's other people that will give me that thing or other people I can explore that thing with. Great. I think sometimes with sexual partners, and I'm assuming this is a casual relationship, obviously, and I'm just going to assume that you've told her that you are going to be sleeping with other people. I'm assuming that you've been upfront and honest about that stuff. In that situation, if one person isn't necessarily giving you what you need, and maybe you've had a conversation about it, you've talked, and maybe your sexual levels, I guess you would say, are just at a mismatch, hey, isn't it great that you can sort of be honest and upfront and, you know, speak with integrity and say, hey, I'm going to go and meet some other people and I'm going to see if I can get that need met. So I've sort of just made an assumption there, but let's back up a little bit. The first thing I would say is if you haven't talked to her about this stuff, absolutely I would give her that chance. Say, hey, listen, I'm a super sexual guy. It seems like our sexual levels are sort of at a mismatch. Like, do you want to help me solve this problem? Do you want to work on this with me? Do we want to look for a solution? Do we want to have a winner's mindset about this? Like, you and me are on the same team. How can we have better sex? And yes, sometimes the answer will be, I just really don't want sex that much. I just don't care. Maybe caught up in that answer might be something that might not actually get stated, but it might be that you might not be super sexy to her. Let's kind of throw that out there. And so if you aren't someone that has worked on your appearance, or you're not at a point where your body fat is nice and low, or you haven't gone to the gym and added muscle, or maybe you don't take care of your appearance, those are the things that I would start working on first. There's a movie that kind of perfectly encapsulates what I'm saying here called American Beauty. And for any of you that haven't seen this movie, go and watch this movie. The whole movie is basically this guy is getting cheated on by his wife and his marriage is falling apart. And for some reason, it finally just clicks in his head where he's like, fuck this, I should just work on myself. And so he starts lifting weights, he stops giving a shit. I think he quits his job and he just goes and works at McDonald's or something because at least he can be happy. He just completely stops giving a shit and starts working on himself and doesn't wait for his wife to give him what he wants. He basically says, I'm going to give that shit to myself. Through this process, he starts to have a girl that's really fucking attracted to him. His wife even fucks him. She's like, oh my God, like, you've been working so much on yourself. I'm attracted to that again. Obviously, I don't know from this guy's comment. I don't know whether or not, like, where you're at with your self-improvement. And I'm not guaranteeing that if you just improve yourself, all of a sudden your girlfriend will go, or the girl that you're seeing will go, oh my God, I'm so horny for you. Let me sleep with you. But that's certainly the thing that I would start on first, because that's the thing you can control. Basically, my answer here and everything I'm going to say is going to be based on what you can do, rather than trying to get her to do something that she might not want to do. So you can still try, you can still sit down and have that conversation and say like, yo, hey, I feel like there's a mismatch. Do you want to work on this with me? But the answer might be like, I don't really care. No, I don't really want to work on this with you. In which case it's like, cool, I'll work on it myself. I'll improve myself. I'll get myself to a point I'm happy. I will have all these missions and these goals and this self-improvement project that's more important than just getting sex from you or getting sex from anyone else. And I say this all the time, by the way. The hierarchy of how you want your life to be is your mission or your purpose or your goals is number one. And all of this applies to women as well, by the way. Any women listening, your goals or the things that make you happy or the things you want or your mission, your purpose, whatever you want to call it, that's number one. Somewhere below that is something like hobbies and the things that bring you joy and peace and happiness. Below that is like friends and family. And then below that is the opposite sex or dating or sex or intimacy and all of that, relationships. So you always, always, always want your number one goal to be yourself, essentially is what I'm saying. You are the number one goal. And so if you're feeling like you're not getting things from the woman that you want, I would pull back and say, what can I do about that? Or what can I do to focus on myself? Because, you say here, it feels frustrating at times. What's frustrating is that you're having some expectations and you're saying like, I wish she would fuck me more. Or you're telling yourself stories that maybe you don't realize you're telling yourself. You might be telling yourself a story of like, I'm never going to have the sex life I want, or why won't she just give me the sex I want, or women never just fuck me, or man, it's going to take so long before I find another woman who'll fuck me. There'll be some stories going on there. And that's where the frustration comes from. Because if we just take a step back and look at what is actually happening, it is man is horny, woman is not as horny, so they don't fuck as much as the man wants. That's it. That's the whole fucking story. And then what we do is we add extra stories on top of that. Like I said, maybe one of the stories is, and it's always been this way, or it's always going to be this way, or I'm never going to get the sex I want. Or here's a story that lots of guys say, right? It's so easy for women to get sex, but it's so hard for men. Like it's the stories around this that are actually frustrating. It's not the situation itself. It seems like it's the situation, but it's the stories we tell about the situation. Because again, the entire situation is just man wants to fuck a lot, woman doesn't want to fuck as much. That's it. It's the fucking story. And so as best you can, and I know that sometimes this can take a little bit of practice, and this is something you work on and you improve. I don't expect you to be perfect at this. I certainly am not perfect at this. But as best you can, you try and take a step back and say, okay, how can I work on myself? If right now this person that I'm sleeping with or this person that I'm dating or whatever it is isn't meeting my desires or my wants, can I give that stuff to myself? In this case, as you've said, maybe you're going to go and sleep with some other woman. Again, please do that, ethically and openly and honestly and tell her and all of that kind of stuff. That can be an answer. But I think the biggest answer is focus on your mission and your self-improvement. It's much, much, much harder to be frustrated with your sex life if the rest of your life is going fucking awesome. Like if you're working on a business, or even if you just have like lots of friends, or you have some cool hobbies that you do, or you're going to the gym every day, or you look in the mirror and tell yourself that you love yourself every day, which again, you guys, is something that I tell you guys to do all the time. Or if you were to, and this is what I would recommend you do, write a list of 50 things about yourself that are likable. You could also write a list of 50 things in your life that are cool. Like 50 amazing things in your life that you have to be grateful for. And when you look at that list and really meditate on that list, don't just write it and then throw it in the bin. Read it, focus on it, meditate on it every day. When you can see that you have all these things in your life, it's a little less easy to get frustrated at your sex life, because you're like, okay, yes, I would like an amazing sex life. Yes, right now I don't have that, but goddamn, like look at all this other shit that I have to be grateful for. And that's what I would pull this back to. Anytime we find ourselves feeling frustration, I would find a way. I've talked about this in the past. I talked about this in the previous video. So let's pull this graph back up here. Give me 1 second. All right, so I have talked about this graph before, right? The hierarchy of emotions. I've done a video on my channel called The Hierarchy of Emotions. So go back and watch that if you haven't already. But when you're sitting there in frustration, which is somewhere down near anger, it might be down near grief, maybe even it's somewhere down there. It's between desire, anger, fear, grief, somewhere in there. That's frustration. When you're sitting down feeling that frustration, obviously that doesn't feel good, and it doesn't empower you to go out and change things. It empowers you a little bit frustration can make you go, fuck this, I can't take this anymore, I'm going to go out. But what is really, really, really empowering is doing something for the fun of it, for the joy of it, for the love of it, because you really want it, because it's exciting, because you can't wait to do it. That's some of the higher level emotions, joy, love, reason, which is rationality, willingness, acceptance, even neutrality, courage. Those are all higher than frustration. And when you're in those higher emotional states, you have more energy, you have more desire, you have more empowerment. You're more likely to take action and actually get the things that you say that you want. And so as best you possibly can, again, I know sometimes it can be easier said than done, but as best you possibly can, pull yourself up into those higher states of emotion. So rather than saying, I'm sitting there feeling frustrated, which I get, yes, I understand that. But see if you can switch that. See if you can transmute that. See if you can come up with a reason or 50 reasons why your life is already pretty fucking great. That's why I'm getting you to write the list of 50 things that you're grateful for, or 50 things in your life that are amazing, or 50 things about yourself that are awesome, or that you're grateful for, or that are lovable, however you want to phrase it, right? You're trying to pull yourself up into that state of gratitude, that state of happiness, that state of at least neutrality and not frustration. And again, I understand the frustration. I'm not telling you not to be frustrated. I understand why you're frustrated. But I would try and pull yourself up to a higher emotional state so you are more likely to actually go out and take action. If you want an example of this, what is easier when you're feeling really down and depressed and like frustrated and just unhappy and hopeless even? Is it easy to go out and take action? Is it easy to go outside and talk to some women? No, it takes a lot of willpower. But imagine you're having a day where you're just feeling like on cloud nine. You just feel like on the top of the world. Just everything is perfect. Everything is going right. You're just so happy. You want to go and share yourself with women. You want to walk up to a woman and say, hey, I'm having such a great day. Do you want to be part of that with me? Hey, you're really cute. Do you want to come on a date with me? You want to share. You just have so much inside you that you want to like give to other people or share with other people. Or go out to other people and say, hey, come be part of my life. Come like have sex with me. Come do whatever it is that we want to do together. Let's do that. So try and pull yourself out of those emotional states of frustration. A big part of that, like I said, is the gratitude list. Another big part of that is 50 things about yourself that are likable. You can also read a book I talk about all the time called You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought. That has a bunch of like actionable steps that you can take to pull yourself to those higher emotional levels, happiness or gratitude or even just neutrality. Being neutral is better than being frustrated. It honestly is like being rational and calm and just saying, okay, she's not as horny as me. We've had a discussion. And again, I would have the discussion. She's just really not as horny as me. I'm the hornier person. Okay, I'm going to go see another person. Cool. With like calm, rational, almost like stoic neutrality. Yeah, I'm going to go on Tinder and find another girl. That'll be cool. That'll be nice. I'm really looking forward to that. That'll be exciting. Like that is way better than the frustration. Because again, when we feel frustration, it comes with so many stories. We'll feel frustrated. And then we will tell extra stories to keep ourselves feeling frustrated. We will say, it's always going to be like this. It's not fair. It's so much easier for women. Why does this happen to me? It's easy for Andy to sit there and say, just don't be frustrated, but it's hard for me. Like, it's not fair. Like, Andy can just sit there and, it's so easy for you to say, Andy, you're already getting laid. Like, you don't understand the frustration. Like, we'll tell extra stories to sort of upset ourselves because that's what we do when we're frustrated. We're not rational when we're frustrated. And so again, as best you can, I would pull yourself up to those higher levels with some of the stuff that I've said to do. And I think that will put you in a better place to then go out and meet your own needs. And if right now you're not at a place where you're able to meet your needs, what I mean by that is if you go on Tinder and you get no matches, or if you go outside and talk to 100 women or 200 women, and by the way, it doesn't count if you talk to less than 200 women. If you go up to 50 women and say hello and ask for their number, no, that's not talking to a lot of women. Talk to at least 200 women over the next couple of weeks or months or however long it takes you. It doesn't matter how long it takes you. Talk to 200 women minimum and go on Tinder and use my Tinder guide. I have all of the steps on there on how to improve your looks and improve your pictures and what to do on dates, and all of that's free. If you go through that process and you still feel like you're just not getting any matches or women just aren't really giving you the time of day, hey, beautiful. That's a giant big mirror held up to you saying, hey, son, listen, we got some work to do. Isn't that great? We got some self-improvement to do. Part of that will be the process of loving yourself and liking yourself, which, people like Good Looking Loser will call a sense of entitlement. I call it a sense of deserving. Maybe you call it self-esteem. Maybe you call it liking yourself, whatever you want to call it. That's part of the process. Losing weight, gaining muscle, grooming yourself, better style, better fashion, taking better pictures, having some friends, having a cool life, having cool hobbies going on, and then just playing the numbers game, talking to a lot of women. A lot of guys will say, oh, I've talked to like 15 women this week and, it's just not working out for me. And it's like, 15, what are you talking? If that's not working, talk to 50. If that's not working, talk to 100 while you improve yourself as well. Let's make that clear. So, all of those steps I have in my Tinder guide, obviously, so you can just go and read that. I'm going to assume you've read my Tinder guide if you're, commenting on most of my videos and stuff. And again, I have no idea where your situation is at, but I would bring it back to self-improvement. That is almost always the answer. Like I said, you want that to be your number one mission, your number one goal. For women as well, make it so that self-improvement and you liking yourself is your number one goal. The opposite gender or sex or dating isn't the number one goal. I understand that when you're not getting laid or you're not having sex, or for women, maybe you're not having intimacy or you're not having the things you want, I understand that it can feel like you're not getting oxygen. I certainly felt like that myself. I'm not getting laid. Oh my God, I'm going to die. As best you possibly can, take a deep breath and remind yourself that, okay, I will eventually handle this. I will eventually be able to meet people and have sex and get all the things I want and have fun with that and share and, enjoy all of that. I will eventually get there. I just have to trust that I will. Okay. In the meantime, let me just show up every day, take some baby steps, take some action, work on myself, work on liking myself, work through some of my limiting beliefs, improve my body, improve my capacity for giving to other people, improve my self-love, definitely improve my Tinder pictures if I'm on Tinder, go to the gym, improve myself there, improve my confidence, which is just a practice thing. You just have to talk to a lot of people. And so part of the way you can do that is by going to meetups, or I've had some clients that go to like improv class and have like just gone amazing, like come leaps and bounds with that. You could take up stand-up comedy, you could go to karaoke, like whatever it takes to improve your confidence, if that's something you feel you would benefit from working on. But we just bring it back to self-improvement. And we know that through that process of self-improvement, you just have to trust that eventually your dating life will be, like you'll have more options, it will be better. Again, all of this applies to women as well. If you're not happy with your current dating life, I've talked about this a million times, bring it back to self-improvement, which is something you want to be doing every day anyway. And that's kind of my point. And so I know, you say here, it feels frustrating at times. In those moments where it's frustrating, I would get out your big piece of paper with 50 things that you're grateful for, look at that piece of paper and go, damn, you know what? I have a lot of things to be grateful for. Yeah, my sex life isn't where I want it, but I already have a woman that I'm sleeping with. That's more than some guys. It's more than I had in the past. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty good. Okay. Like if I've got one woman that will sleep with me, even if she doesn't sleep with me as much as I would like to, or she's not as horny as me, I at least have one. That's one nice thing to be grateful for. I have my self-improvement. That's another. I have my friends. And again, I don't know what you have in your life, but write out 50 things that you have. And if you feel like you don't have very much in your life to be grateful for, well, then start building some of that stuff. And then be grateful for the opportunity to build that stuff. Be grateful you live in a world where you can get all of this information for free. Not just my podcast, obviously, but all over the internet. Everyone is trying to help you for free. That's something to be grateful for. So bring it back to the self-improvement. Bring it back to the gratitude list. Read those books like No More Mr. Nice Guy. I think one more thing I should address, or I would like to address here, is obviously I don't know the situation. And oops, what did I just click? All right. Sorry, I clicked your fucking thing there. Pull it back up. Obviously, I don't know the full situation, but there are other things you can do to, like, have someone be hornier for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would still talk to her, and don't bring it to her like, hey, how come you're not horny and I am and you're shit? I'm really good at sex. Why are you never horny? Like I don't think you're going to do that anyway, but, like, try and have some empathy, obviously. Like, don't bring it as a problem. Bring it more as a potential solution. So I should have said, bring it more as an opportunity. There's a great Grant Cardone quote that goes, every problem is an opportunity in disguise. Or it's similar to my philosophy of every problem has a solution. And so bring it to her rather than saying, hey, there's this problem. I feel like you're not as horny as me. Because that just makes her feel like, oh, fuck, why am I being burdened with this problem? I don't think it's a problem. Now you're dumping your problems on me and telling me I have to fix it. Instead, bring it as an opportunity. Say, hey, I have this really cool idea. I want us to focus more on sex. I want us to get more out of it and have more fun with it and like try some stuff from a sexual bucket list. Try some kinky stuff you've always wanted to try. So that's something you could bring to her. I've written an article and I've talked about it in a million podcasts on how to write a sexual bucket list, as in a list of all the things you might want to try, and how to get a woman to write one, or any girls that you're seeing to write one as well. And any women listening, go read that article. It's on my website. Just search for sexual bucket list, kill your inner loser, and see if she's willing to write a sexual bucket list. And then what you do is you go through and try some of those things. And if she's someone that isn't very open sexually and she's not willing to like admit to you what she's into, you can present some things to her. You can say, okay, would you ever get turned on by me blindfolding you? And she can say yes or no. What if I used a vibrator on you and every time you got close to orgasming, I took it away and I just kept doing that, and so you were frustrated and desperate and horny, and I just kept you on the edge, and then finally I let you have this beautiful, massive, big like wave of orgasms? Like, how would that be? Do you want me to try ice cubes all over your body? What about a massage? What if I covered you in oil and just spent forever teasing you? What if I fucked you for like 5 hours and the entire time I didn't let you orgasm and I didn't come? And every time I got close to coming, I would stop and take a break, and we just did that for 5 hours. Like, present her with a couple of different things and see if she's into any of them. If she isn't after all that, maybe you guys just aren't sexually compatible. And that's okay. That happens sometimes. And any women listening, yeah, sometimes guys aren't very sexual either, and you're the one that's sexual, and you're like, God damn. Like the number of women that my girlfriend Emi and I have dated that come to us for BDSM and obviously threesomes and stuff like that. And they say, man, I dated this guy for like 3 years and I really loved him and it was great, but he just wasn't sexual. And I will say, well, did you like ask him if he was into any like kinky stuff? And they're like, yeah, I would like really, I had to work up the courage to like ask about ropes. And he was just like, ropes, that's weird. I don't want to, why would someone do that? That's weird. And like, they feel really shut down. So men can be unhorny as well. It's not just a woman thing. But, you could present to her some sexual bucket list items or see if she wants to write one, and then just see how she feels. So sometimes, the reason that someone isn't as sexual as you, or sometimes someone isn't as sexual as you, but you can kind of stimulate that by saying, okay, well, what kinky, weird stuff are you into? What kind of fun stuff do you want to try? And then her mind might start racing, and she goes, oh shit, actually, there's a lot of things I would try with you. Again, I don't know, but that might be something that you can try. So see how she feels with that. Other things you can do, obviously, like I said, improving yourself. If you watch American Beauty, if you haven't watched that movie, by the way, anyone listening, just go and watch that movie, especially as a man. I think in particular as a man, I think it's just like a movie for men. It's like, hey, if your wife is cheating on you because you've kind of let yourself go and you ignored your marriage and you guys didn't communicate and it all went to shit and you kind of ignored your body and you just kind of became a middle-aged man, fucking work on yourself, improve yourself. And even if you improve yourself and she still doesn't come back, that wasn't the point anyway. The point was she's gone. She's cheated on you. She's leaving you. You may as well have an awesome life. So that movie's pretty mandatory for men. If you haven't watched that movie, go and watch that. And maybe do some of those things. Again, I don't know you. I don't know where you're at physically, in terms of your body or any of that sort of stuff. And I can't know where this girl is at or what she's into, but I'm telling you, if you improve yourself, as in lose weight to a point where you're lean, like 10 to 12 to 14, I'd say aim for 12% body fat, but even 14% body fat is okay. Aim to get down to abs. If you don't have abs, go to the gym, add some muscle. That shit can take a couple of years, and that's okay. Like, we're in this for the long haul. Dress better, get some accessories, groom yourself, like put some real effort into your appearance. Like, aim to max yourself out. You'll never maximize yourself, but like aim for that. Aim for the best you can possibly ever be. I guarantee if you do that, if not her, other women will be very horny for you, for sure. I can't tell you that every woman on the planet will be. I can't promise you that this woman will be, but that's certainly something that helps, for sure. Another thing you can get into, and we haven't even really talked about this, is I don't know how you're initiating sex. I don't know your relationship. I don't know if you guys are casual. I don't know who's doing it, but sometimes as guys, we can get so caught up in the fact that our girl isn't as horny as us, and it's because we're not initiating, or it's because we're sitting there going, well, how come she's like not thinking about sex as much as me? Or she doesn't seem to want sex as much as me. My girlfriend Imi does not want sex as much as me. She doesn't initiate as much as me. She will initiate like 1 in 30 times. And when she does, it's hot as hell, but she just doesn't think like that. She's a woman. Now, every single time I initiate sex, I don't think there's ever been an exception in our relationship. Okay, surely there would have been, but I can't think of any. When I initiate, she's fucking desperate for it. She's like, oh my God, yes, please. But she doesn't sit there thinking about sex. If we just didn't have sex, I think she said to me before, she could probably go a week without us having sex. And then after a week, she would start to feel like, hey, I really miss sex. Like, you know, I miss intimacy. Is everything okay? Are you still into me? Do you still like me? Like those kind of feelings. But she won't initiate, or she will like 1 in 30 times. Most women are like that. Almost every single woman that I've ever dated does not think about sex as much as I do, as much as we as men do. They certainly don't initiate. They certainly don't sit there thinking about getting fucked. We do. We're just sitting there looking at them. We're like, God damn, she's really hot. I want to be all up in that grill. You know what I mean? I want to slide into those fucking panties like a fucking, like a seal sliding up on the fucking ice in the Arctic. You know what I mean? Like I want to just fucking get in there, get in that crevice. She's not necessarily thinking like that. Women don't look at you and go like, oh man, I need some of that meat right now. Mama needs some of that sausage. Like, give me some of that salami, that good. Give me some of that good. Women don't really think like that. They don't really talk like that. Some do, but most don't. And so maybe there's a little part of this, maybe a little part of what's going on here. It could be that you're sort of expecting her to be as horny as you, and that just isn't the case. Or as horny as often as you. And so maybe some of the answer here, and again, without knowing the situation, but part of the answer might be you just need to initiate more and stop waiting for her to be ready for sex. You initiate, and there you go. Now you're having sex. And a big part of that could be something like domination. I don't even know how you're initiating. But if you're initiating in terms of like passive, you know what I mean? Like maybe you start gently nuzzling up against her and she's like, hey, honey, not right now. Like that's not as sexy as if you just like fucking grab her. And again, only do this if you're actually, I feel like I shouldn't need to say this, right? But like this is more for when you've slept with someone a few times, right? Like I feel like I shouldn't need to say that, but grab her, yank her fucking pants down and just fuck the shit out of her. Like that's how you initiate sex. You just grab her and say, we're fucking right now. And obviously if she pushes you away and says no, then yeah, fine. But like, I'm telling you 99.99999999999% of the time that I've ever been with a woman, if I just grab them and start fucking them, they're like, oh my God, what's happening? This is so hot. Oh my fucking God, this is my biggest fantasy. But if I was to like nuzzle up against them and try and like, you know, grind on them and like snuggle them and stuff like that, sometimes they'll say no. They'll just be like, no, I'm not feeling sexual. So a big part of this could be how you're initiating. Again, I feel like I shouldn't need to say this, but make sure that you've already slept with the person several times. Like, don't do this on a first date or something. Don't just grab someone and start fucking them. That can be hot too, but yeah, I feel like you guys know that. I feel like you guys know where that line is, but yeah, it could be how you're initiating. It could just be that you're sort of initiating almost from a place of scarcity, that you're scared, or almost like it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You might be worried that she's going to say no because she said no a bunch in the past. And so you don't just grab her and fuck the shit out of her. You're almost expecting a no. You know what I mean? And so maybe you're initiating like not gently, but like too passively. Like you're just giving off the vibes of like, oh, you're probably going to say no, but I may as well try anyway. And then that comes with like a lower energy, you know what I mean? She's just seeing lower energy and she's like, that's not hot. What's hotter to you? A woman kissing you, but with the energy of like, oh, he's going to reject me and he's probably not going to be into me. Like, and he probably thinks I'm ugly and he probably thinks I'm fat. Like, that's not sexy. Versus a woman who just grabs you and like jumps on top of you and starts grinding on you and makes out with you passionately. You're like, whoa, holy shit, this is hot. So I guess what I'm saying here is it's not so much about domination. It is a little bit that, but it's more passion. Initiate passionately. Again, I don't know what you're doing, but there might be part of you that's holding back. You know what I mean? That's like, well, I've been rejected 1,000,000 times. Why would I try really hard? It's like, you don't have to, but if you do try really hard, you're more likely to get a yes. You do that if you want to, don't if you don't want to. No one's telling you that you have to, but I'm telling you that you will get far more yeses if you just grab her and fucking fuck the shit out of her. Or grab her and yank her panties down and just go down on her. Even when she's in the middle of shit. I do this with Imi all the time. I do this with girls that we're seeing. She'll just be sitting there doing work or something. I'll just grab her pants, yank them down, and just start fucking her. Like literally instantly. Like just fucking spit on my dick and then just start having sex with her. That's hot as hell. I've done that with every girl that I've seen. I'm telling you, basically none of them say no. Every now and then one will say no. They're like, hey, stop. And you're like, oh, okay, what's wrong? Like, and they're just having a bad day or some shit. Fine, that will happen. But I'm telling you, 99.999% of the time, they're like, oh my God, this is incredible. This is so passionate. In the same way that wouldn't you guys love if a woman just jumped on top of you in the middle of you doing whatever you're doing? She just rips her shirt open and just starts making out with you. And she's like grabbing your hand and making you play with her titties. Wouldn't you be like, holy shit, what is this? This is so hot. This is like my biggest fantasy come true. It's passion. It's desire. Again, for the 50th time that I'll say this, make sure you've already slept with the person several times and you know each other and, you know, you're in that state where it's like, yeah, I can't just grab you and fuck the shit out of you at any point in time. Like, that goes without saying. But, yeah, it could be how you're initiating. So I'll throw that in there. I feel like that's everything I wanted to say. I'm going to go get some lunch, you guys and girls. I got a coaching call again in a little bit, but I wanted to bang out this video. I really like this question. I really appreciate this question. And yeah, sometimes there is just a mismatch in a relationship. It could be that. And you might already be solving the issue right now as I say this by going out and saying, hey, I want to see if I can meet some more women. Like, that might be the solution. Again, do that ethically, like tell her. But that might be the solution in itself. But as I said, you know, the end of your comment here, it feels frustrating at times. I understand that, but do your best to try not to get frustrated. Here's what I will say. You are going to sleep with other women no matter what. That is going to happen. You are going to sleep with other women. It's up to you whether or not you do that with frustration or with peace. Either way, it's going to happen. It's entirely up to you how you do that. And I'm telling you, doing it with frustration is not only more difficult, it obviously doesn't feel as good. It takes you longer because you will self-sabotage. You won't try as hard. You will hold back. When you're in a feeling or when you're in a state of frustration, it's very hard to go all in. It's not empowering. It empowers you a little bit, but it's not as empowering as like peace or happiness or even just neutrality or love or joy or excitement. And so, again, you are going to change this situation. You're going to go and sleep with other people. That is guaranteed. That is going to happen. You're not going to spend the rest of your life and never sleep with another person if this is something that's important to you. You are going to sleep with other people. It's entirely up to you if you do that with frustration or with love. You know, with resentment or with excitement, with hopelessness, or with feelings of gratitude and inevitability. And yeah, it's inevitable that I'm going to do this. I'm so excited. I can't wait, man. I'm so excited. It's entirely up to you how you do that. So I would pick gratitude every single time. I would pick excitement. I think you would too. But either way, you're going to make it. You're going to do this either way. So do it with frustration if you want to. That's your choice. Or do it with peace and excitement if you want to. That's your choice too. So I will wrap up, you guys. I will leave a link in the description to the book that I recommended, which is... Actually, there's two books I'll recommend to you guys that are relevant here. So You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought. Definitely very relevant. A second one is I Need Your Love, Is That True? By Byron Katie. And in that book, she basically talks about the stuff I said before, that you want your number one like goal for your entire life to be you and your self-improvement, your friends and your hobbies and stuff like that, rather than other people. So I think that book is the perfect explanation of that concept. So I'll leave a link to both of those. I'm still offering coaching if you would like that. We're doing those $250 coaching calls as well as the big hardcore coaching. Oh, here's something that I would really appreciate from you guys and you girls. Over on my, how can I show you this? Over on my Spotify channel, my Spotify podcast, I won't show you on the screen, but I have a Spotify podcast as well, and I'll leave a link in the description to that. I would really, really, really appreciate if you guys would give a 5-star rating if you think it's worth 5 stars, obviously. Give a rating, I should say it like that. And the same as Apple Podcasts. So you can find my podcast on there. Just search for Kill Your Inner Loser on Apple or Google or Spotify or any of your podcast things. I'd really appreciate a rating. I want to try and bust ass with that, get that up. I've never ever asked for ratings before. I've never asked for likes on this channel or subscriptions. That's something I'm probably going to do next year. Start saying, hey guys, I would really appreciate a like or a subscribe if you like the content and want more of it. I have a mission with the YouTube channel. I want to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of this upcoming year, 2023. So by the end, I want us to be at 10K. I think we can do it. We're already at 3K. That's pretty impressive given I've done no fucking marketing for it. I haven't really gone on many other people's podcasts that often. I think I've gone on maybe 5 podcasts ever, maybe 6, something like that. I'd never ask you guys to like or subscribe. I don't really post much, like as in I don't really post my videos elsewhere very often. So the fact that you guys have already, we've already gotten to 3K, I think 10K is pretty fucking doable. And I think that'd be very exciting. Love you guys very much. Links in the description. What else do I want to say? Nothing. I'm hungry. I'm going to go eat food. I hope you guys all have a very nice holiday season and go crush those goals.